This is Nothing But That Sports Talk. Welcome to another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafiq Luzon alongside Brian Waters. And yeah, it's been a while since I've done a full-fledged episode because, well, as you've seen on my social medias, I've been covering the 1910 tournament with VCU taking on the A10 trophy, clinching the berth in March Madness. But before we get into all that, when we talk a little bit of some wrestling, as obviously in a few weeks now, WrestleMania is coming up, and we have some pretty interesting matchups to break down. I mean, you got Cody Rhodes that won the Royal Rumble earlier this year. He's going to be facing Roman Reigns. Of course, there's a rivalry between Rey Mysterio and Dominique Mysterio going on, and of course, well, it's just so much to juggle in. But
Let's get into
but,
it.
what are your thoughts on the way WrestleMania has been building up until this point, Brian?
So I've been enjoying it. I know a lot of people have, I don't pay much attention to internet chatter as much as like it's my job to, be in the know of the news and stuff. But I talk wrestling with my friends and my co-host on all the shows that I do. But I'm really excited about this year's WrestleMania. I am a proud member of the bloodline as a fan, I should say. I love, I do acknowledge my tribal chief Roman Reigns. So I'm ready to see him retain the championship. I was at the Royal Rumble. It was an amazing atmosphere. So I'm happy for Cody Rhodes, but the story don't have to end. He ain't got to finish the story just yet.
Yeah, I can only imagine this title reign with Roman Reigns look like it's never going to come to an end. Like when the way you see Roman Reigns defend his title against guys like John Cena, Sami Zayn, all the other even people like Edge and Daniel Bryan, like what goes to your mind the way? Do you think that this title run is good for WWE?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you have a guy like Roman Reigns, he's $1 million, right? Like he said that Dusty Rhodes said, you got it. You couldn't even get rid of it if you tried. So he's the perfect person for this. He's dominant, but he can look vulnerable. So it's not to the point it's like, all right, but every time people think they got him, he outsmarts them. That's what he got the bloodline for.
Exactly. But the type of faction which makes evolution and nation domination like child's play. I mean,
Can we
You got the two Uso twins. I mean, well, you had Sami Zayn before he decided he don't want to be bothered with the bloodline no more. Or well, you also have like it's just the way it is. Like
Well, Rafiq, you really put evolution in the same conversation with the Nation of
I'm just
Domination and the
saying,
Bloodline.
I'm just
I mean,
saying,
I
like
think that's the most
seriously.
overrated group.
Like seriously, the success that the Bloodline has had when it comes to the title rings, especially the Roman Reigns and the Usos, it makes it look like child's play. Only Roman Reigns. Well, this is the first time we had a superstar hold the title this long since Bruce San Martino. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just messing with you. Everybody knows me that I'm not a big evolution guy at all. I think they are better in post than they was together. And it was good together, but I just think I think there's other groups and other factions that's way better.
Yeah, like won't you name them if you could?
Oh, easily. D Generation X.
Can't forget about them.
Yeah, you can't forget about DX. We mentioned the bloodline. You got, we mentioned the nation. You also got the Freebirds. You got the Hurt Business. You have, wow, it's been a long day. The Heart Foundation. You know, uh, so yeah, you got all those other groups that I would definitely take over. I mean, no, I ain't gonna go that far. I was gonna say I take the Nexus of Evolution. I ain't gonna go that far. But yeah, it's quite a few other groups. I'm throwing the Freebirds in there. I actually had. I'm drawing a blank because I did have like upon going back and forth on social media with somebody, I actually put them on a graphic. But like it's been a day. But yeah, I mean, Evolution was good. Don't get me wrong. The NWO obviously, the Shield obviously, but the NWO was. I mean, Evolution was good, but I think that compared to other groups, they're just not like to me. If you're going to make a faction a Hall of Fame, I think you have to be super like over. Like I don't think every faction should be in the Hall of Fame. I only personally think only DX, the NWO should be faction Hall of Famers.
Exactly. I mean, DX got the spot in the Hall of Fame for a reason. And yeah, pay homage to China. I mean, I was there when they did the Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the year the Generation X got that knob, and it was an incredible experience. And it's funny enough, that's actually the last wrestling event that I went to before COVID shut down. And oh yeah, we'll get to your current friendship relationship with Patricia and Krista B. Those wrestling goes in a minute, and how you got involved with them. But when I'm looking at this ongoing success of Roman Reigns being the world champion, you gotta think to yourself, man, is he ever gonna drop the title? Like, or in this case, this is the pay-per-view where Roman Reigns finally drops the title? I mean, you're talking about going up against Cody Rhodes, who's never been WWE champion. He's had Intercontinental Championship. He has tag team champions. He's been involved with WWE, with the exception of the years when he left WWE for AEW before coming back with that phenomenal WrestleMania win against Seth Rollins last year. So, I mean, I gotta ask you: do you think that Cody Rhodes defeats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? How big do you think it would be for WWE?
It'd be huge. The best part is that we haven't seen this match in this capacity before. Sure, Cody and Roman crossed paths when you had the Shield going against the Rhodes back in the day, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't the Tribal Chief versus the American Nightmare, so it's a fresh matchup, and you can see a thing where Cody beats Roman and then Roman goes on the tear trying to get that belt back. But also, I'm not betting against the tribal chief. And it's also because, it's not what I want, but I'm not betting against the tribal chief. He print money, he print merch. Cody is your baby face. He's your top hero. And John Cena kind of solidified. You know what I mean? He's the Hulk Hogan. Brother Hugh said on the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast a few weeks ago, Cody Rhodes is what WWE wanted Lex Luger to be, but Lex Luger couldn't carry the mustard.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they in Roman Reigns faction, I'm glad that they finally take his character more serious. And at least this time around, I feel this is the time where he can become a world champion. And since you mentioned John Cena, he'll be going up against Austin Theory for that title right in the background. I'm talking about the top left side of that screen right there.
Yeah, the U.S. title, baby.
Like, what do you think about Austin Theory versus John Cena?
Oh, this is the make theory. You know what I mean? This is puts him in the eyes of more people. Crossover appeal. We all know John Cena to me is the number one WWE superstar ever. And when I say that, I mean maybe not the best wrestler, but as far as the total package of what you want a WWE superstar to be, as far as in ring and out ring, the combination of all the stuff that he do, it's John Cena. As far as accomplishments as well, because of that, and because he's gone to Hollywood and been successful, more eyeballs are going to be tuning in. People know the name John Cena, and now people are going to know the name Austin Theory, win, lose, or draw.
Exactly. And you know what? Austin Theory has had an impressive run. I mean, he cashed in this Money in the Bank ladder match for the US title. Never thought we'd seen that. And the funny thing is, it's originally made for the World Championship. But you know what? Obviously, they just want Austin Theory to have some kind of success by having him cash it in for the US title instead. So
well, he lost that match, but the thing was, it was a reset, because he was kind of booked in a corner. You knew he wasn't taking the title off of Roman Reigns no time soon. He also did get caught up in the transition of the power, right? When he won the Money in the Bank, Vince was in charge, and then Triple H was in charge of creative. So it was a great reset, even though a lot of people didn't like it at the time. It's better for him to cash in, lose, kind of go to the bottom, get serious, go to Survivor Series, win the championship, now have a more serious demeanor than being the silly selfie guy that he was. And, he would have lost the, Roman, and then it would have been like never heard from again. So he's going to be the one person, unlike a Baron Corbin or, that's the only person I can think of right now. But yeah, unlike a Baron Corbin who cashed in and it didn't do, and Damian Sandow, where it didn't do him any favors.
Exactly. I mean, that's just how Austin Theory operates. But we'll talk about John Cena. Like, I mean, obviously, you've seen a lot of wrestling throughout your years, and you've seen a lot of John Cena matches throughout your years, going up against guys like The Miz, The Rock a couple times, Bray Wyatt a couple times. I'm kind of blanking out. But he was involved in a triple threat match. Well, the year he won the World Rumble, no way, he couldn't even take the title he couldn't even win the title for WrestleMania that year. It was a triple threat match with him, Randy Orton, and Triple H. I mean, obviously, but I get it. Cena had to lose that one in the pinfall. So yeah, like what are your top matchups, win or lose in John Cena's career?
So what are my top matchups for him?
Yeah, your top three.
Oh, that's a good question. I'll do WrestleManias for the sake of the conversation. Um, it's definitely I definitely put his matches, both of them with The Rock. The
Without
first one
question.
because it was a once in a lifetime, and I'm biased. That was my first WrestleMania. And when I tell you The Rock won, you can feel the building shake. The second one because he got his redemption and he got the torch passed to him. So that one, and then I'm also gonna say his match with JBL because that's when we finally see Cena get made and for him to take down JBL, who was on a tear, who had that championship by a chokehold, and it felt like nobody could beat him. For John Cena to do that and usher us into this new generation, I thought, those are my three favorite matches from him.
Wow, you just named some of those favorite matchups that I'm thinking about right in my head because I remember back in middle school, I was watching WWE on a consistent basis until my last year of middle school when John Cena was just working his way towards being the top babyface when he won the title against JBL that year. And I remember being happy for John Cena and hating JBL during the days where I was one of those fans that always hated the heel superstars.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping John Cena would never lose. And when he finally lost a Royal Rumble a year later to Edge, even after barely surviving elimination chamber match. But at the very least, but don't worry, see the guy's redemption, and well, you even hold the title for a year up to for a full year until he got hurt, and well. He was part of the reason why WWE's PG was so popular back in the days. A lot of older fans don't like the PG era all that much, or at the very least, didn't like the fact that Cena was the top face because like he's making everything boring. But I was being a John Cena fan that I was growing up. I enjoyed some of it, especially
Mm-hmm.
the rivalry with John Laurinaitis. But that's neither here or there. See the John Cena match again now against Austin Theory. I mean, I'm kind of mixed in mind. I mean, I want Cena to win, but obviously Austin Theory has to win because he's up and coming, or in this case, he's the now of this WWE era.
And you know what? If he loses, it's not bad. That's the thing
Not,
because he's in the ring with him. You know what I mean? Kevin Owens lost to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's still around. So I'm fine with it either way.
yeah, and obviously, Brian, it's been a few years since you've been on the show, and ever since then, you've
Mm-hmm.
been. We'll stick with what you're doing right now. You've been working with you've been doing shows for the Ringer, and then also I've seen that you connected with Krista B and Patricia from those wrestling girls. Shout out to them, by the way. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually, I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about that little connection that you had with those wrestling girls first?
Yeah. So Queen PR and Krista B have been phenomenal. Been great friends of mine. I've, you know, collaborated with them during the pandemic. And, one day, actually before the pandemic, I discovered their show in my feed and I saw this thing said those wrestling girls. And I was like, wait, two black women that talk wrestling? Let me check this out.
It think it be possible, but it is.
And it was great. And so when I was a get ready to celebrate the 5 year anniversary, break it down with Brian H. I reached out to the Twitter feed, and it was Krista B who I was talking to, and she was on the show. And less than a year later, Queen PR was on the show, and then we just remained friends. Last year, spent a lot of time together doing WrestleMania week, and watched a few matches together at WrestleMania, like even including Bianca Belair's moment. So when Queen PR was putting together uh TWG fan club with Queen PR, she would have rotating guests, and then one day it was me, Justin, and Ciendol on there. She was like, "Oh wait, I like this crew," and we've been doing that and rocking and rolling ever since.
I can only imagine. And you know what? A lot. I mean, well, Patricia and Krista B have been on my podcast before in the past, but it
Mm-hmm.
was separate. I
I've
mean,
seen.
in the past. So let's just get that out the way. And I kind of know. Well, I met both of them in 2018. I mean, the only reason why got to know Patricia because I mean, obviously it was back. It was a year where her twin sister Letty was working with Dave Summit, and she hired me as her intern. And
Nice.
then when I put together, and then I put together like a Black History Month panel with her in it, and then Patricia just happened to come. Now I just said hello and goodbye. I didn't think anything of her at first. I mean, obviously this was before that those Wrestling Girls era started. I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
anything of. I didn't really think anything of it at first, but then when like we really grew close, me and Patricia really grew close when at this spot called the Delancey, when Lay was doing the event Delancey, and then I was like, yeah, she's pretty nice. She's very friendly. And then like a month later, like literally a week after I went to a podcast that was started by Scotty B. Scotty B, well, she used to work 597. Krista B told me she saw me over there, and then that's when I started connecting with her as well. And that was when they told me that they would start a podcast together. I was like, hey, can you follow this podcast and support us? And I was like, yeah, why not? And then I saw, well, they did like a little 5-minute episode together where they talked about where they were talking wrestling and stuff. So I was like, yeah. And then and then I shared some of my photos I took with wrestlers in the past from past wrestling shows that I went to, because I mean, my first WWE show wasn't until 2012, the year where TLC was at the Barclays Center. Let's get that out the way. But get to with these phenomenal women that's talking wrestling, mostly the women's at Revolution, but they do a good job discussing everything and actually having community events surrounding that. Like, and you know, well, but how do you think that they impacted the rest of the community with what they do right now?
Oh, 1,000%. You know, you just said it. You know, between the community events, the between the community events, their content, you know, to hear women's perspective, right? And I'll bring up the Sunny episode. There's no doubt about, like, the Sunny and the Sable episodes of other shows on big networks, right? Usually have a misogynistic point of view, but then you can hear it from their point of view. You can hear ladies, and it's always cool that when you find ladies who love wrestling, and they don't make no mistake about it, to the people out there listening who never heard of those wrestling girls. Yes, there's a women's wrestling platform, but they can talk men's wrestling with the best of them. They came on the Wrestling Wrealm one night, and we 5 of us had a ball, and you know, they are huge. They're true anchors in the wrestling community.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, to the point where every time the anniversary of when they started their podcast come around, they would throw an event. I saw you were at one of their events last year. I believe they did
Last
at
year
some
and the year
restaurant down in
before
Brooklyn.
last.
Like, why don't you talk about the whole atmosphere and what you enjoyed about seeing the way they put together that event?
It was everything, you know, a turn up session. You know, it was a turn up session. Definitely, you know, go to thosewrestlinggirls.com. You'll see everything on there.
Exactly. And if you want to talk wrestling, just reach out to them. I'm sure they're going to plug you in. I mean, they talk to a lot of wrestling content creators, I'm sure. I mean, they have their own knowledge and their own perspective of WWE and wrestling as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since you locked into WrestleMania, we got some other matchups to talk about. I mean, you got Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Now, now for the past few, the Royal Rumble has been around for a while. Bianca Belair won a Royal Rumble like a few years ago. I mean, obviously this year Rhea Ripley got a Royal Rumble win. But what are your overall thoughts of the way that Bianca Belair has excelled in the WWE since the Royal Rumble win, since the year 2000? I believe it was 2020 or 2021, somewhere around those realms.
2020.
2020.
2021.
Yeah, 2021. She won it all, and she became world champion. I mean, and she lost the belt to Becky Lynch, but got it back. Like, what do you think about the way that Bianca Belair has excelled as a world champion in women's wrestling?
I think she's been phenomenal. This second run has been better, I think, because fans can appreciate the chase that she had to go on. The first time she chased, she was chasing in the Thunderdome, so you really couldn't get that raw emotion. You know, this time we saw her lose in 18 seconds, which I think was the best thing for her long term. And then to see the progression and to see her go on a tear to get that belt back. And then since she's gotten it back, I don't think Bianca's been pinned more than 10 times since. So it's been great to see. And I think she's also proven, like, people like to call her Jane Cena, but she is the epitome of a WWE superstar. And that's the reason why networks are invested in her. I mean, I've been very vocal. People know, like, my daughter, that is her favorite wrestler. She got the Bianca Belair Funko Pop. She got the action figures. She got quite a few Bianca Belair shirts. Fortunately, Bianca, she sent me she recorded a video on my phone last year to send to her. So it's been fun. And I think she's, you know, when it's all said and done, she could be the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how long she can keep the belt. Matter of fact, it should really matter because this is Bianca Belair, a very phenomenal, talented wrestler. And well, obviously, one half of the Street Profits is lucky to be married to her because, well, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
And another matchup in the women's division we got to look at. Rhea Ripley will be going up against Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title. So when you're looking at this matchup, like, what is your outlook on it?
I think Rhea Ripley wins. I'm a little early on predictions, but I'm gonna give you that exclusive. But I definitely think that Rhea Ripley wins. Rhea Ripley is a star. This will solidify the year that she's been having. She's been the most important member of the Judgment Day, really up until recently. And now I see her separate. I do love her and Ray. I mean, her and Dominic. I am a huge Dominic Mysterio fan. I think to see
Just
where
don't see
he
that in
has
front of Michael
come.
Cole.
Huh? Oh yeah, yeah. To see where he has come and from where he used to be, I am loving every bit of it.
Yeah, you gotta love it. I mean, it sucks that Dominique Mysterio and Rey Mysterio had to have beef with each other. I mean,
That's
especially,
beautiful.
but
That is beautiful because it also
I mean,
made
I'm
him.
talking about that they had to that the beef had to happen in order for in order for Dominique Mysterio to have the success that he is right now, and he's gonna be a world champion one day. And the fact that him and Rhea Ripley work so well together as faction Judgment Day, I mean, it, words can't describe it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like when we're on the subject of Judgment Day, like, what do you think? What do you think about Dominic Mysterio as a heel, especially from the time when he turned on Edge, the guy who started the Judgment Day and got booted out?
It really opened him up, but it also got him away from his dad, so he didn't have to be around his dad all the time, right? Because he would have always been just that exponent, no matter what. You're not going to out legend Rey Mysterio. So now we get to see his own personality. We got to see him make that change, make the change to his look, and Prison Dom just took him to a whole new level. So I think this is, perfect for him. And I'm very excited to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, this year when it comes to World Rumble, I mean, obviously Rhea Ripley won it all, and I'm hoping that she becomes world champion. That'll be a big win for Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, oh yeah, you can't forget about Logan Paul going up against Seth Rollins. It wasn't that long ago. Jake Paul lost a boxing match, and now Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. Like, what do you think about this matchup right here as well?
Uh,
As
Too
a,
early for me to tell, but I'm very excited for the match because more eyes will be on Seth Rollins at the end of the day. And I'm interested to see what the WrestleMania interest is going to be like because now more and more people are singing that song, and I love it.
yeah, I mean, you can't forget. This is another big chance to have another WrestleMania moment for Seth Rollins, and obviously, and well, now to get back to the women's division, we transition to damage control led by Bailey, really, against Trish Stratus and Lita and
Mm-hmm.
Becky Lynch. Do I need to say any more?
Mm-hmm. The legends, man. You getting legends in the ring, and shout out to Damage Control for holding it down. It was tag team champions, kind of at a time where the belts was in turmoil because of what happened with Sasha and Naomi. So I'm glad that they're getting the reward of having a WrestleMania match. And I mean, anytime you can get Trish Stratus in the ring, you can't go wrong.
Exactly. And I like the fact that Trish Stratus and Lita are wrestling in the ring again, and this is WrestleMania. I mean, the way things are going, you always look like it was you were going to wrestle again, but at least you're getting that right now. And Trish
Mm-hmm.
Stratus said herself, she can retire, but she could also unretire at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
And Lita, it's just good to see her hold another WWE belt again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I want to see them around for a little bit. I said this last week on Fan Club. I want to see them around. I wouldn't mind a whole year of a run. They ain't got to be there every week, but I just wouldn't mind it. I love seeing the women's legends come back, getting even to see Beth Phoenix tie it up and mix it up with Rhea Ripley. I wouldn't be surprised that Rhea wins at Backlash. We get Beth versus Rhea. So this is all good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of interesting matchups. I mean, those are some of the favorite matchups to watch in WrestleMania coming up. And yeah, sorry, yeah, sorry. I mean, well, I've been locked in. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. I like this WrestleMania is looking very promising. I don't care what people tell me. I look forward to WrestleMania 39.
Yep.
Now, as far as your experience attending WrestleMania in recent years, like years, and I see that you had a little top 10 list of WrestleMania WrestleMania. For those who haven't watched his Instagram, like, why do you put the WrestleMania that you put as your number one favorite WrestleMania all time?
So the way the list is on the Wrestling Wrealm's Instagram, I grouped it up by tens, right? So the first 10, the second 10, the third 10, and the last eight. Um, so I based on my connection with it, my favorite matches, and what it meant to me. So like the first list is 1 through 10, right? And I got a lot of heat for number nine being number one. And the reason why number nine is my favorite WrestleMania at that period is because that's the first WrestleMania I saw live. And it's also, regardless of how people feel, like, I'm a Hulk Hogan fan. So as a 6-year-old who Bret Hart was like becoming my favorite wrestler because Hogan was leaving. But then Hogan came back and he was in the tag match. And even though he lost, he had a good showing. I'm looking at it from my 6-year-old eyes, and I've tried. I don't watch WrestleMania 9 with I'm gonna analyze and this should have happened with all the dirt sheets, the rumors, and all that. I don't care. So when that happened, and then when he came back and saved the day, when they said always send the fans home happy, that was me. I was fans. So that's the reason why number 9 is the lead of that one. The second one, WrestleMania 18, simple, Rock and Hogan, right? Wrestling's past, wrestling's future, icon versus icon. We never got Tyson Ollie. We never got Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds, but we got Rock and Hogan. So that's why that one outshined everything. The next one, 20 to 29. 20 to 21 to 30. 28 is number one because that was the first WrestleMania I attended. Say less. The next last 8 is 38 because I was there to be able to produce the interview with Cody Rhodes after his return with David Shoemaker. To be able to see Roman win both belts, to see Stone Cold for the first time, to see Triple H leave his boots in the ring. Like WrestleMania 38 was just a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, that I could only imagine. It was good to see Stone Cold wrestle that match again against Kevin Owens of all people. And I'm looking at
Mm-hmm.
your post right now. I mean, obviously you had WrestleMania 28 number one. I mean, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. That deserved that top spot, obviously, because of the Cena versus Rock matchup. So I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I remember watching it. I wasn't too happy about Cena losing, but at the same time, I was happy for The Rock because, I mean, come on. For somebody that's been watching wrestling since the Attitude Era, who doesn't like to see The Rock win a match, especially in
Mm-hmm.
his return?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then WrestleMania 30, dare I say more? I have no argument with you on that one.
If I would have went to that one, that probably would have been number one. The plan was to go to that one. I didn't. I regret it now. But if I would have went, that would have been number one. I mean, Daniel Bryan is my favorite of all time. He surpassed Hogan and Bret. And so when he finally won, like that was probably like the first time I shed a real tear of joy when he finally won.
Yes, exactly. And I remember the last time you came on the show, you said Daniel Bryan was one of your favorite wrestlers. And that year when Bryan started the whole yes movement, yes, yes, yes. It was the true build up to the matchup we saw that night.
Well, yeah, and if you really want to break it down, it actually started at WrestleMania 28 in the parking lot. And, when that night I remember that Friday before Access. Shout out to Corey, my kicks and my fix. He started doing the yes chants. People started catching on. Then we moved on to the later on that night when he lost, people was chanting yes. It wasn't as loud, but it started getting louder throughout the night. It started becoming the Woo chant. The next night on Raw, he had a dark match, and I think he lost or whatever. But people was chanting yes, and he grabbed the microphone and he said, "Thank y'all. After the worst night in my life, y'all making me feel better. Now y'all may have convinced them to let me get a new T-shirt, and if I get a new T-shirt, y'all better buy it." And that's when the yes chant started, and they took
Yeah,
on.
I remember that time.
And even
Yeah, you know what? No need to cut you off, but yeah, you know what? I do remember because that was the year where he barely survived by the Mark Henry and the Big Show in a steel cage match, and then actually defended the World Heavyweight Championship in an Elimination Chamber match a month later, only to lose the belt in less than 18 seconds to Sheamus, and that's when he started to no, cutting off AJ Lee. Well, obviously that was before AJ Lee got married to CM Punk in real life, but life. And it was every time Daniel Bryan wins a match or they make him win a match in the most awkward way possible, he said yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That
Fact.
kind of that kind of stuck with them. That kind of stuck with us.
Yeah, it did.
This goddamn Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I mean, obviously, obviously, I mean, I get why you put WrestleMania 25 as your number three WrestleMania for WrestleMania 21 to 30. I get it. That was the first of 2 years Shawn Michaels and Undertaker had matches, and the year John Cena literally tried to do the F5 on two giants.
Yeah, it's a moment people forget about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so many different matchups. I mean, WrestleMania 21, number 8, no argument there. And I don't have a problem with the way you set up your WrestleMania your list from 1 through 10. I really have no issue with it whatsoever. Those matchups deserve where it got. Because if I were to host a wrestling show, I would probably put that list there too.
Yeah, it was fun doing it, I have to say. Around this time of year, I enjoy being able to, create wrestling content, especially based upon WrestleMania. I'll drop an exclusive one here. Be on the lookout on the ringer.com. I got another one, a full article, my first full piece on the ringer.com. So just be on the lookout.
Yeah,
You heard it here first.
of course, if I were to switch up your favorite WrestleMania list from 21 to 30, I'll probably put WrestleMania 30 at number one. No disrespect to the
Okay.
win over John Cena, but I probably put
No, I
that
understand. Yeah,
number
I
one.
definitely
I would
understand.
flip flop number 1 and 2. I would probably flip flop number. I would probably put Wrestle. I would probably put WrestleMania 21 over WrestleMania 25 only because the John Cena fanboy in me is happy about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll switch those spots itself. Everything else can stay. I have no issue with it whatsoever. Although, that's pretty much it. And now I'm doing with this WrestleMania. This is nothing but that sports talk. Thank you for stopping by, Brian Waters, and I can't wait to continue talking wrestling in the future. I just gotta make sure that I get locked in. I mean, I'm locked in, but yeah.
I get it. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for your time, man.
And to all the balls out there, enjoy WrestleMania and get your head in the game.